Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we are reading from True Off My Chest. Our first post is by Conscious Lunk. I sent my child to wilderness therapy, and I'm not sorry. My daughter is a sociopath. Ever since she was a child, she never seemed normal. She was always drawn away from us and very hostile. My partner and I lock her in her room at night to protect ourselves and to make sure she doesn't get into anything dangerous to harm us. We have caught her trying to get into our gun safe, as well as multiple attempts of grabbing knives from the kitchen to try to kill our son. We have tried everything. We have given her love, attention, toys, heart-to-heart conversations, one-on-one hangout days, and therapy. We even admitted her to a mental hospital for a year because she kept threatening to kill us and her little brother. Nothing had worked. Her therapist tells us everything we already do. Every other day, we plan family game night like Just Dance, bingo, etc., and it always ends with my daughter threatening to murder us in our sleep. She was soon after in a mental facility for 2 years after that, and when she came home she was somehow worse. It got to the point where I was afraid for my family's safety, especially our son. So I looked into wilderness therapy. Before anyone says it's bad, I know it's bad. I know how they treat the children there. At this point, I just want my daughter gone. This family has taken enough of her abuse, and I have tried to make sure it didn't get to this point. I even asked family members if they could take her in, and they all declined because they are afraid of her and don't want to handle her. So I admitted her in, and she leaves Monday. She is 16 and will stay there until she is 18, where she can check herself out and leave. Before anyone calls me a bad parent, understand that it's hard to have a child be a part of your life when they grab a knife from the kitchen in the middle of the night and try to unlock your door to kill you. Or when they try to drown your other child. I understand this will be hard for her. I will always love my daughter and will miss seeing her. But she needs to know that this happened because of her actions and negligence. Edit. For those asking why I can't put her back in a hospital. She always gets sent back early, with therapists claiming she has made improvements and is not a threat to us. I understand many people are wanting her to go to a hospital instead, but they keep sending her back and ignore my words when I tell them what she has been doing to us. They shrug it off and send her home. Also, a lot of people are commenting that I am throwing my daughter away, when that is very far from reality. I love my daughter with my whole heart, and I never want anything bad to happen to her. However, I need to make sure my family is safe from her, and this is the only way I can do that. Update. Hello everyone. I am here to update. Tomorrow was the day I was supposed to drop her off at wilderness therapy. A few days ago, I told my daughter where she will be going, and she was understandably upset. She was very unstable the past couple of days. I told her that it wasn't fair to me, that she treated us all very badly. She said it was clear we didn't want her here, and that her friend's parents agreed to take her in. So, I helped her pack her bags and dropped her off. Unfortunately, she didn't even last 2 days at their house because I got a call from her friend's dad telling me that they can't handle her sudden angry outbursts. So once they drop her off today, I am continuing to take her to wilderness therapy. My husband and I have thought it was best to cut her off completely and move. Some people suggested changing our last names, and we will be doing that too. Here is the letter that I will send off with her now. Hello, insert child name. One of our biggest regrets and mistakes was not being able to do more for you. It felt like there was so many puzzle pieces that were missing and couldn't be fixed. We as a family tried to be there for you and look out for you, however. You failed to treat us with that same respect, and in return made us afraid for our safety. We sincerely hope this journey will teach you many things and help you discover whatever will help your life get on track. This journey with us, however, has come to an end. In 2 years' time, when you get out, we would have moved and changed our names. Please don't try to find us, and instead use your freedom to live out your own life. We don't feel safe around you, and we feel like it is best to not be in contact anymore. Regardless, we still want to recognize the good moments we had. We hope you will live a fulfilling life without us. Sincerely, your family. In the comments, Singing Cutie writes, I am not judging you. You honestly don't have a lot of options. You tried everything you could to help her, but she doesn't want to help herself. Your priority is to keep your son safe from her abuse and violence. I agree those places aren't the best, but otherwise, she could end up in jail and your family could be harmed. This is the alternative. Maybe it will help her somehow, I don't know. But living in fear like that is just not sustainable. You aren't a bad parent, you're just one who has to make a tough choice to protect your family. Our next post is by Fickle Effective. My marriage was worse than I thought. 2 weeks ago, my wife of 15 years and I had a big fight. She ending up posting some vague cry for help type post on Facebook, and I get a call from my brother. I'm not on Facebook, and he knows that. So this was him calling to let me know and ask me how she's doing. I want to say, my brother and I never talk about relationship stuff, mostly because I don't want to bitch at him about my wife and engender any ill will between them. My brother and his wife are basically our couple's date partners. We play board games every couple weeks, we go on vacation together since our kids are around the same age, etc. His wife is friends with my wife. Well, I thought so. And they text about things a decent bit as well, and I was always glad that there was friendship between the four of us, and never wanted to risk it. But this time was different. I was in a dark place, and after I assured them my wife was fine, and we just had a fight, I basically broke down and told him how I'd been unhappy lately. He stopped me and said, "Hey, just so you know, my wife is in the room with me, and she heard a bit of that." I was like, "I don't care. Put me on speaker for all I care." I told him, basically, I felt like my wife was always putting me down, arguing with me over trivial stuff, and just generally being rude and condescending to me. I asked if I was imagining it. Let me tell you, the dam burst. He basically said, of course I wasn't imagining it, everyone knows she does that. People have talked about it plenty of times. Then his wife starts talking. She says she's seen how much I pour into the relationship and how little my wife does, how my wife never helps with the kids, how she orders me around, how she's just basically mean to me all the time. Then goes into a story about how her dad always walked over mom, stuff I'd never heard before, and how she had tried to get her mom to leave her dad over and over and said if I decided to ever make the decision, the kids would be fine. And it was better, in her experience, than growing up in a toxic household. I realize my sister-in-law is telling me she thinks I should get a divorce. I polled 1 or 2 other friends over the next couple of days. They all said the same thing. I didn't realize how bad it was. I half thought I was imagining it, but no. Apparently no one likes the way my wife treats me, and they're all amazed I thought this was just normal couples bickering. So please, if you have a friend or loved one like me who's in a bad relationship and is still in it for reasons you can't fathom, maybe pull them aside and talk to them sometime. An outside perspective is really important, and I didn't have one until now. Our next post is by General Loquat. I'm pretty sure my neighbor has been cheating on his fiancé for the last 8 months, and I think I accidentally told her. I just need to get this off my chest and maybe get some advice. I 26F live in a complex where I am lucky enough to be at least civil with all my neighbors. We all help each other out, and if someone needs anything, we don't hesitate. At least I felt lucky, until about a week and a half ago. Our complex is pretty dated, and it being in the middle of college campus area doesn't help. I live below a couple who I get along with pretty well. The girl in the relationship I'll call Elle I talk to regularly, as she is usually getting home in the evening when I'm taking my dog on his last walk. 9 times out of 10 Elle will join in with me and walk around the block where we chat, and she vents about work and I do the same. We both agree it's the best part of our day. Elle Fiancé, who we will call T, works the opposite schedule as her, as he works days, and he's usually home by the time Elle is getting ready to go to work. Elle let me know this was temporary, as they are adjusting to new jobs, and she's waiting for opportunity to work day shift at her job. Well, in the last 8 months or so, as Elle leaves around 2:30 in the afternoon, and not long after I started noticing this girl who comes by heads up the stairs, and shortly after, I hear the door above me shut. Like I mentioned, our complex is pretty dated, so the walls are pretty thin, and if you even slam a door too hard, you'll feel it. T has a habit of shutting the door loudly, so I know she's entering that particular apartment. At first I thought maybe she was his sister, as I knew he had 3, but then the visits became regular, and around this time I got a new schedule, so I was home well around this time. I noticed that said girl was gone always before L got home, and she never made eye contact with me if I saw her in the walkway. About 2 months ago, maybe more, T was carrying up some groceries from our garage and happened to drop his wallet. I was pretty busy at the time, so I picked it up and told myself I'd give to either him or L. Well, I get home, and I happen to see said girl as she's heading up the stairs, so I stop her and hand her his wallet. She stops me, and with a very red face and shaky voice she goes, I don't know him, mind you, this whole time she wouldn't look me in the eye. That's when my intuition told me that this definitely wasn't his sister if she was lying. So very calmly I say, "What do you mean? You're his sister, right? I see you go in there all the time." I'm not exaggerating when I say this girl literally pushed me out of the way and left the way she came from and didn't say a word. I knew something was up. So I went up the stairs, knocked on the door, where T answered, all too eager. Now, I think this is worth mentioning about myself. I don't condone cheating. I grew up in a home where my father constantly cheated on my mother, and I myself was cheated on. It destroyed me. So when I saw the smile on T's face disappear as he realized I wasn't who he was expecting, something in me triggered but still kept my composure. I looked at T and said, "Sorry, you were probably expecting your friend. I tried handing her your wallet. You dropped it earlier, but she must have forgotten something because she went back towards the front. Tell L I say hi." T said thank you as I watched his mind race. Well, since then, I'm assuming they talked to each other because the visits became less regular, but I still caught her coming, but she started taking the long way to get to his apartment. Mind you, I have a Ring camera, so from time to time I'd see her crossing the courtyard. This whole time I thought maybe I should tell L, but strangely enough our walks became less regular, and when we would see each other T was around. Again, this gut feeling would never leave me. Well, fast forward to a week ago. Like I mentioned before, Elle and I talked regularly, so I know her work schedule. It's a Sunday night, her day off, when I start hearing banging and the loudest moaning I have ever heard coming from above me. I naturally assumed it was L and T getting on, as they are usually pretty loud. I don't think much of it, but put in my headphones and start cleaning, thinking maybe said mystery girl is gone with the wind. Well, the next day Elle catches me on my last walk and asks to join. We are about halfway with our walk when we start talking about sexy time, and I jokingly and stupidly say, "Yeah, tell me about it, you two were louder than normal yesterday," to which Elle stops dead in her tracks and goes, "What do you mean? I worked yesterday for some extra cash," so I explained to her what I heard. Elle immediately excused herself and bolted ahead of me, and left me to finish the walk on my own. Immediately, I knew what I had done. It's been almost 2 weeks since then and I haven't seen her. Her car hasn't been in the garage and T won't even look at me when we see each other. Deep down, I knew this was coming, just wish it wouldn't have been me. Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.